now. Day 2 has already thrown up some surprises, and now we get to see two of the best teams in the world and some ex-teammates go up against each other on our main stage. We've got SSG ready to take on Quadrant.
That's right, make no mistake, this is a grudge match, folks. This is going to be a good one, and to be honest, I feel pretty spoiled that we even get this as a head-to-head matchup on the Saturday. If there's one matchup I want to see, it's these former teammates going up against one another in a big controversial team change in the offseason. Here's a look at the series layout and what the series will hold.
Well, there's the series layout, but we want to quickly, before we get into the game, just give you a little bit of a backstory on what we've been hearing from some of the players and the coaches, even from both sides. I spoke to SLG last night. He sent me a couple of messages. He was like, hey, just to let you know, I believe our ceiling is even higher with this roster, this new Quadrant roster, than what we had last year. Now, you spoke to Elamite, and he was very interested in that comment.
He certainly was. Elamite, I kind of asked him, hey, how's the whole team feeling about this series? And what he said to me is, for 3 of the guys on the stage, this is another run-of-the-mill series. He said, of course, for Lqgend, though, it's a big one, right? Playing against former teammates that he played with all last year. A big opportunity for him to maybe make a statement against those former teammates. But he said, if they're saying their ceiling's higher, let's see how their ceiling matches our floor, which was quite a statement indeed. We are underway and kicking things off with Lqgend, the newest member on the Spacestation side, and of course, former teammate of everyone on the other side on Quadrant.
Well, it's going to be Strongholds to start things off here. And I think it's only right that we start on this POV, right? Taking down his ex-captain, you would say, in SLG to start things off, and it's the perfect start here from Spacestation. They win the opening exchange. Lqgend has a camo, and if they're not careful here, Quadrant, they're going to be in a triple cap because every single player was taken down.
Like I said, one of my other questions to Elamite was, how have you guys thought about this series? How have you prepared? And I think in a very cool, calm, and collected way, and also extremely confident, said we have not specifically prepared for this series, whereas I feel like you think about the amount of emotion on the Quadrant side of the stage in this series, they're going to be thinking about it quite differently, but first 40 points on the board here as Lqgend still has camo as he makes his way to yard.
Camo disappears, but still has the positional advantage. Even though Quadrant managed to scrap back into A and convert it, it's just going to be a collapse now. And this is one of the things about this game type, right? It's the most punishing game type that there is in the Halo Championship Series. The triple cap keeps going, and it's a case now for Quadrant of accepting that you're probably going to lose around 100, 150 points even before you're going to have an opportunity to get 4 back on the map and really put some pressure back on. But at the moment, Spacestation aren't even letting them live. Glory has yet to get a kill. SLG is yet to get a kill, and they're about to cross the 100-point mark as well.
That's right. That was a 4 dead followed up by a 3 dead. I think Drone managed to get 1 kill out of the end of it. However, it's not going to mean points on the board. A clean kill here in loop from Lqgend as well. They do cross the 90-point mark now.
One thing that was interesting that we learned yesterday from watching a bit of Quadrant when they went up against FaZe was that late game was a little bit of a struggle for them. They were very competitive for the majority of their game, for 95%, but it wasn't enough to close out any of those games. They went down 3-0, and with the way that Lqgend is playing at the moment, he looks like he's having fun on the main stage.
How about that? What a way to open up your series against your former team. A killing spree, unanswered, and 108 points in a row. They let 1 point go on the board, and then they continue scoring yet again, excuse me. You got to also give a shout out to Lqgend there for that play on the light rifle. You could just tell that because his team had so much advantage in positioning, he's able to just kind of wait and bait and take out Snipedrone really easily.
Sica gets taken down, Eco with that kill, but more importantly here, the camo is up. Now, where has that gone? Mid-map control was Quadrant's for quite some time there, so no surprise to see that Glory has managed to get that first power-up. Now there's an opportunity for this game to turn in the favor of Quadrant. They've had to kind of soak up the pressure in the early points, but now you can see they have a triple cap of their own, and that's how this game type works, Andy. It's kind of one team has dominant control. It's about how long it takes you to break.
It really is. Look at that timing from Glory. Really good patience there. Even though he had camo, he waited for the perfect second from when Eco goes from truck up to snipe and then hits another perfect as well. And just like that, off the back of these plays, off the back of those kills, they've halved their opponent's lead. Now it's 115-52.
SSG 3 dead as well. Eco last alive, and you can see the Snipedrone. He sniffed him out here, but it's going to be a kill and not a trade that goes to Eco. So as last alive, he gets his teammates back on the map. Vital in this position.
Really big here. He's not going to be able to do too much here. They're going to slowly get A, and only because Eco wins that do they even get to get A, and they're going to also have immediate pressure on B as well. So they do stop the bleeding. B reset comes in. However, as we said, it's a lot of points on the board for Quadrant. Not only showing signs of life, but showing continued scoring, and they are right back in this match.
Well, here's Sica. One man who Still part of the roster that did so much on this very stage last year, and he's looking to push for a triple cap once more. Eco in the 1v1, great early shots, but look at the peek from Eco. Teaches Sica a lesson.
We talked about it yesterday, the peeking, the jiggle peeking, and really playing your corners there. It's really big in Bandit gameplay, and as you say, Eco showing off that he's put the time in with this weapon.
Lqgend gets one. The battle for bottom middle continues here as it looks like Quadrant have turned their attention towards A. And I tell you what, they can turn their attention wherever they like because the triple cap stays locked in here for Quadrant. SSG were 3 dead. Camo coming up as well. And I tell you what a comeback this is from Quadrant. They turn the score over. They are in the lead now, and they look like they might have a camo too.
Wow, what an opening to this game. You couldn't ask for more. It was 108, 4 dead for SSG as Sica gets the camo as well. It's perfectly timed and perfect patience from Quadrant as well. You could not ask for a better opening in game number 1 of this series. It was 108 to 1 point, and now just like that, Quadrant already leading by 40.
And the scary thing here for SSG is a squad spawn in blue. That means they're going to be vulnerable to grenades. All the chokes they have to walk through, they're going to take damage, and it's just about cleaning that damage up, and it's exactly what Sica is doing. A double kill for him, more deaths for SSG, and this triple cap is stifling them.
That's what I was worried about. The exact timing of that camo grab led to so many points on the board. The 4 dead hit at the exact same time as the camo grab, and Sica uses that elevation, uses those sightlines to perfectly pick apart the SSG roster. They have crossed the 210-point mark.
Now, this is the interesting part of the game, though. A couple of kills went over to SSG, and they've managed to get control of one of the strongholds. Now you're going to see the battle bottom middle. Snipedrone gets a kill onto Bound, stays alive as well. Sica gets another, and it's going to be all up to Lqgend against his old team to keep his team in the game. Can he get the stick? The answer is yes, but the reset does come in bottom middle.
All 4 dead, but because of that, Bound is able to get here, and he should be able to beat the spawns on the timing here just by a split second or so to finish B.
Scoring back in the hands of SSG, but damage being taken by Bound. Staying alive is so important, and he cannot do it here. SLG and Snipedrone combine. All the kills going over to the Quadrant side of the stage right now, and they flip B back. Quadrant now in the home stretch.
It was a big play from Lqgend, but wasn't enough. Look at the board. Somehow a 100-point difference here. Let's see what happens at C as well. 230 on the board, 20 points to go for Quadrant. What a run they have made here in game number 1. It's a triple cap at the 240 mark.
It's going to be desperation here from SSG. They have to cap something, and they have to cap it now. Lqgend in the 1v1, and Snipedrone will take him down. A huge kill. They give up C, but the battle is going to be for bottom middle. Bound gets one. Snipedrone will stay alive, though. StelluR, last alive here for Spacestation Gaming. It's all up to Lqgend now, as StelluR will fall. Glory steps back into B, and surely this is the final moment.
Should be able to. Let's see what happens at A now. All focus on A as he's going to have to rotate back.
Split spawns, though. It's going to be 3 players now from Spacestation spawning at C, and that might be a blessing in disguise. And Quadrant cannot convert in these final moments. Is it going to be the same story as yesterday, as Eco gets the camo?
SLG last player alive, Eco with the camo. All 4 players up on Quadrant, though. Let's see how this plays out. 246 mark, no room for error whatsoever.
Eco gets spotted out with the camo. But he's still going to find one, and he takes the shields down to Sica. He's trying to wait and bait for this bottom middle, and they will keep control here, SSG, of B and C.
This would be unbelievable. What a run they have to take here. It's going to require a lot more slays to bring this game back, but they've already got 2 dead. They maintain the staggered spawns as well. They trail by just under 100.
Important thing here for Quadrant, even though they are leaking points right now, the camo didn't turn it into a triple cap. If that happens,
big from Glory.
Then maybe SSG are right back into this, but kills like that from Glory and openings created like that could give Quadrant the chance to move up the map and turn over one of these strongholds.
Glory was last player alive. He does not have the opportunity to push. He was in a momentary 1v2 and finally gets taken down. Now still staggered spawns. It was 3 dead for Quadrant yet again. They're coming off the spawn here. Spacestation has to do this about 2 more times if they want to win this game.
Have they learned from yesterday? Quadrant so close in so many of these games, but it was these final moments. They are agonizingly close here. 4 points is all they need. But that 4 points might as well be 250.
Oh, no.
As StelluR is starting to take over this game.
Huge from StelluR. He doesn't take any damage. No trade, no damage at all. StelluR with the triple kill at an unbelievable time. Sica's the only player alive. It's cafe spawns. It's camo for StelluR. Are they about to do the impossible?
StelluR just changed the game. Now moving in on A, it's going to be an easy reset. The kills are just starting to stack up in the favor of SSG. It's 4 dead for Quadrant. And SSG are back in with a triple cap.
Last push here for Quadrant. Off the rip. Cafe spawns. All 4 players up. The final battle.
He's just standing here with camo. He's just waiting for an opening, waiting for a pick. There's two players in front of him. He gets one, he can't get two, but Quadrant, they lose 2 members, and SSG will come back to win game number 1.
Oh my word. What a way to start this series in one of the most back and forth strongholds, and undoubtedly the biggest comeback of this event so far, trailing, I believe, by 150 points or so. Quadrant at the doorstep with 230 for quite some time. And SSG forces about 6 perfect spawn rotations and 3 and 4 deads to win that game 250 to 246. Unbelievable. Jaws dropping in the room. I'm sure jaws dropping in chat as well. And my God, what a game number 1. Spacestation somehow does the impossible with unbelievable map control.
I said we were going to see some world-class Halo. Well, game number 1 certainly provides that. And that game type in itself, that's the picture of the game type, right? You're never out here.
Yep.
You can just get that 1-4 dead, 1-3 dead, all those blue spawns. You can rotate those spawns, and you can put so many points on the board without response. You felt after the start of that game that SSG might run away with things, but Quadrant managed to keep that triple cap for so long, but so long wasn't long enough. A few moments away from being able to close that game out. But SSG just played to the last second, and one moment that stands out is StelluR getting those vital kills on the respawn around that C stronghold. That triple kill that turns into a camo, that turns into a game win. SSG looked dangerous.
It really wasn't. I'm so glad you brought up that StelluR play at the end of the game, because StelluR was at loop, and you saw he had to push up to posters and isolate a 1v1. That was the first battle that he got in. During that battle, he hits a perfectly timed repulse to not take any damage. And I think a lot of people watching at home, right here, look at this. No damage at all. That's the first dead. That's the first pick. And guess what? StelluR helps at C. He's going to now collapse on truck as well. Last player, Sica, in Cafe. It was over. I think everyone watching at that exact moment, when you saw StelluR not even take a hint of damage because of the perfectly timed repulse, not only does it get them the first pick, but then he can run with that. And the second that happened, it was like, okay, this one's probably over. Quadrant is going to be in a lot of trouble here. And it's plays like that that make the difference, because I think everyone's thinking, who gets the first pick there? It really came down to that final moment.
I mean, this is the comeback in itself. This is just a still from that game. This is where Quadrant go 4 dead. They are 217 points to 115. Over 100 points ahead at this part of the game. But like I said, this is a game type and game mode combination where 100 points is kind of, if you're playing good Halo, it's what you expect to get if you get a 4 dead.
It truly is. And what a back and forth gameplay. What a beautiful display of the highest level of competitive Halo, that these two teams are just really pushing each other against the ropes time and time again, back and forth. But when it mattered most, it's Spacestation closing out the game, as you say, a 100-point deficit to win 250 to 246 in what felt like at least 5 or 6 perfect 3 or 4 deads in a row to close out that game. And you have to be a little bit worried for Quadrant, because that's a really familiar tale from their Optic series, from their Phase series yesterday, where they were just on the cusp of victories. I talked to Snipedrone this morning, and I said, hey, your POV looked good in that series. What were your thoughts? He's like, man, a few moments difference, and that could have been a 3-0, of course, our way, if they were able to close out from the mid-game. They weren't yesterday. They get shut down by a huge comeback from SSG in game number 1 here. Let's see how they can respond.
Well, I feel after that game number 1, everyone who's here in Arlington just sat up a little bit straighter, because everyone now is locked in for this series. Game number 2 is live. We're on live fire. It's going to be StelluR. First to 50, we'll take the game.
I think we knew this series was going to deliver, but I don't know if any of us were ready for a game number 1 like that in what is already going to be one of the most memorable strongholds, I dare say, in Halo Infinite history from that game number 1. A beautiful display, as we
got
said.
A triple off the rip. Flies over the top of Sandbags, takes 3 members of his ex-teammates down, and gives him that 3-1 lead. Something to keep an eye on, as he has the QT, is the 1v1 with SLG, which he wins, not for the first time in this series.
Love the confidence, too. A lot of players that in a high-stakes situation might hit the QT early just like that.
Oh my God.
Oh, man. Talk about being 2 places at once, getting the job done. More kills on the board. They lead 6-2.
6-2. More importantly, he just took down Glory, who had that sniper rifle. And Lqgend is just standing there at the moment and almost beckoning the Quadrant players on, saying, how dare you challenge me? How dare you think you're going to outshoot me?
More kills coming in. See if Bound can stay alive here. That'd be special as well. 9-4, making 9-5. Big quote from Bound yesterday, from StelluR yesterday. We got to talk to him. He said, we wanted to make a change in the offseason, and Lqgend was the only player we were willing to make a change for. Think about that for a second. Only player in the entirety of professional Halo that they were willing to make a change for. They pick him up, and so far, it's a good start. However, Quadrant answers back in a big way. They're only down by 2.
Yeah, really electric start from Lqgend, of course, but bigger picture here, it's just a 2-kill lead here for Space Station Gaming, and I think it gives us a second as the game just slows down for a second to talk about maybe what that change was made, right? Lqgend adds so much to Space Station Gaming in this particular game type. StelluR is where they fell short a few times this last season in some of those close encounters they had with the likes of Optic, the likes of FaZe. Well, he's already showing at the start of this game what he brings to the table.
I mean, yeah, look at the numbers. 8 and 2 from Lqgend. He's 1 kill shy of the entirety of Quadrant's kills at this point in the StelluR.
Movement now from both teams is around that camo. Great shots coming in from Snipedrone, by the way. A little bit of help came in from Sica. Bound does clean up 1, but he'll be immediately traded out. 2 kills still the difference between the two teams, but control of the camo side of the map is firmly in the hands of Quadrant. You would expect them to be in a position here to pick up that camo.
And as we learned from the game number 1, it's far from over. Of course, QT gonna grab. In the end, will grab the kill, does Lqgend, second one in a row. That was 3 dead for Quadrant. He's finding mud spawners here. Maybe they'll clean this last kill out. Eco also pushing, very nicely done. They clean out the mud spawn, which will force now scoreboard spawns.
I mean, keeping track of Lqgend's tough. He's got a QT. It becomes nigh on impossible.
Yeah.
Snipedrone going to challenge though. Snipedrone doing a great job. Ooh, he got a little bit wavy there, a little bit windier than we expected, but most importantly, the headshot that counted connected on the side of Lqgend in that fight. Now we're seeing the game just slow down for a second, and Glory's going to fall into that trap.
Telling you, StelluR with his repulse, man, he knows how to use it in those 1v1s, does so well to win that one as well. Eventually be traded out, but just like that, now a 3-kill lead. SLG trying to make the push here on tower.
Sniper rifle in the hands of Eco, I believe it was. He just hit that body shot. Made that push from SLG. Not quite as comfortable as he thought it was going to be. StelluR moving in to clean up yet more damage. 2v2 on the map right now as Eco will get back onto live fire off his respawn, and this is the worrying moment. This is what Foe were worried about yesterday. They said we played a pretty good series. On live fire, we felt pretty good. The only problem was, when you get StelluR with a snipe in his hands, it feels like 2 players because he just bodies everything.
He really does here. Also, great play by Lqgend there. That was off screen. However, Lqgend had to win the 1v1 against Snipedrone back at tower to even create this space for StelluR. So really nice 1v1. Those are the types of things that won't show up on the scoreboard. They won't show up immediately upon looking at the game. However, it's plays like that that keep Space Station in the lead here by 6.
Bound gets 2. Glory will take the snipe out of the hands of StelluR, and you have to say, that could be something that's looked back on as one of the big moments of this game, because it means that he didn't really get to do too much damage with it. 5 and 6 at the moment is StelluR, and Glory has the chance now to show what he's made of with the big stick.
Very, very quick kill off the first one. Brings now the game within 4 kills. As you said, you heard from the Quadrant side, they feel like their ceiling is even higher than historic top 3 placings last season. They've got their eyes on making an even bigger statement here in 2024. Glory's going to be a big part of that if they have any say about it.
StelluR gets the first pick. Now it's going to be up to Glory to do something special because the pressure is coming in. Can't connect this time. As Quadrant fall 3 dead. A couple of kills were exchanged, but the numbers fall in the favor of SSG once more. And now that we're in and around that 30 kill mark, those differences in 1 or 2 trades start to stack up.
Now I'm just playing this slow, going to wait for his teammates to respawn as they're, of course, going to play up on this camo. Now, really all eyes on that camo as it's only a 5-kill game here with 7 left.
Glory trying to push up to Nest, takes a little bit of damage and gives away a kill. It's going to be the most comfortable double kill you'll ever wish for if you're Bound. 2 players just walk into his reticle. It might even be 3. He turns around the corner and it is 3. Sica serves up the triple and Bound was feeling hungry.
Really perfect timing there. That should be a camo grab off screen. Yes, it is. StelluR's going to grab that. And now the game has completely gotten out of hand off the back of that. We just said it was a 5-kill game. And just like that, now a 10-kill game off of the triple and the camo grab. And you can tell StelluR's feeling himself. He's going to go ahead and push it in green. Even though it's a camo traded out, they know they can get that last player off of that damage. And when you've got an 11-kill lead, you can make plays like that.
10 kills to go then for SSG to close out game number 2. Quadrant are going to have to find multiple back-to-back team wipes if they want to try and get back in this game, which is a lot easier said than done when you're playing against a team like this. Snipedrone with the first pick, though, might give them somewhat of an advantage. But Lqgend, he's hunting for a Sica. He's going to find a Snipedrone first.
Man, just the shots are hitting so hard. The damage coming out of Lqgend. He manages to stay alive for so long and wins the 1v1 against Sica in the window as well. That is what Bandit gameplay offers, especially when in the hands of a player like Lqgend. They still lead by 10.
Do not adjust your streams, everybody. Lqgend is 17 and 10 in this game. StelluR picks up another one. QT's to the back of green as he's looking to stay alive as SSG are on the road home.
Wow, what a statement from him, right? All eyes, of course, we've said it, are on Lqgend. 18 and 11 in this game. StelluR finally taken down, but this will be likely the home stretch here for SSG. Not over just yet, but you have to feel like a few more kills come in. That could be the game, but Quadrant not going down without a fight.
SSG just have to be careful that they don't try and think about finishing this too quickly.
Yeah.
Because Sica has a sniper and Glory's got a pretty good shot himself. That's a big kill, and that could flip momentum here. Back over to Quadrant, SLG with another one. Hold your breath here, folks.
Exactly, slow it down. In a game where Lqgend is 18 and 12, this game is somehow only separated by 5. 44 to 39 here, and these next few picks are absolutely huge, and you can feel it on the main stage with how the game has slowed down.
5-kill game.
5 minutes remain.
Sica needs to connect though, and Bound is going to make a play elsewhere. Takes down Glory. Connection not going to be there, and now the pressure's going to come in. They know he's weak. They flood in. StelluR, Lqgend, get another. It's 19. Make it 20 for Lqgend against his old squad.
Oh, no!
And the triple kill to finish it. Lqgend is him.
Icing on the cake, salt in the wound, however you want to call it. What a way to do it from Lqgend. A Saturday main stage debut with his new team, and he pops off 21 and 13 with a triple kill to finish the game. As we said, the most historic international pickup in Halo history, and he's proving why he's found himself on this SSG team.
You might say cherry on the cake. He would say butter on the croissant. Is probably how he's feeling right now. What a talent. What a special player. And most excitingly, I think, for everybody, he's just getting started. 50 to 41 is your final score in game number 2 as SSG will be up in the series by 2.
What an unbelievable finish to that game. I think we were all thinking it when you called out that Lqgend had just hit the 20 kill mark. Look at this QT work by him, by the way. Also, the confidence to only hit the QT after he's won the 1v1s. A lot of players would play it safe in those situations, get the damage and QT back. Instead, he's not just playing high risk, high reward. He's simply taking those risks and winning those 1v1s, then QTing out. Really good start for them, of course. And you got to say, I think we were all feeling it. You're hoping when Lqgend hits the 20 kill mark that he's going to grab that snipe top mid. We all saw Snipedrone's name in the back of house. And guess what? He flies in and hits the quickscope for the triple and the game winner. Multiple statements being made. Look at the damage. Once again, here he wins this 1v1 in the window as well. Just beautiful plays coming out of Lqgend throughout the game.
I mean, have you ever seen a more poetic end to a game than this? Oh, for the 21, and he pops off on the main stage as well. Lqgend is feeling it. And why wouldn't you after a performance like that? SSG now 1 game away. Quadrant are reeling.
Absolutely. I mean, once again, these games were so close, right? Quadrant manages to bring that game once again back within 5 kills in the late game, despite being down by 11 earlier. So Quadrant showing that they have what it takes to always go toe-to-toe with these top teams. However, it has been the case time and time again. This is the 2nd day in a row of them failing to close out the games, but not easy to do when that man on your screen is dropping 21 kills. Now, let's make no mistake, this is fairly basic math, but nearly half of his team's kills recorded in that game.
Yeah, I'm glad you did it, because even the most basic math, we know how that goes for me. But, I mean, what a way to close things out. Look at the reaction as well from Lqgend. He knows what this series means to him, right? Even though he's still good friends with everybody on Quadrant, he wants to go and push himself to the next level. He wants to win titles. He wants to win championships. And the man on your screen is probably one of the greatest mentors you could possibly ask for in Halo to go and do that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like you and I talked about before we got to this event. Just thinking about this roster on paper, those 4 gentlemen on your screen, of course, alongside Coach Elamite, it is a terrifying amount of individual talent on paper. However, one of the special things about SSG also is that they are much more than the sum of their parts, right? When you take these 4 together, just absolutely dominating in what they can do in game. We've just seen it now, 2 games in a row. They can absolutely take over games that they really should not be winning. Take a look at some stats here from StelluR and Lqgend.
I mean, those stats just indicate worrying times ahead for Quadrant, because we are going over to King of the Hill as our next game type, and I mean, take your pick. Honestly, take your pick of one of those statistics to be impressed by, because whatever you pick, you're going to be correct.
Yeah, come on, StelluR dropping over 2.0 KD in a King of the Hill match. There's not going to be much time to move around a map.
Well, the funniest thing about that is StelluR's dropping a 2.0 KD, but Lqgend's out damaging him, which is just, I mean, it's...
I think that how much Legend POV we got to watch that game is a great example. And I love this stat card because you saw what Legend does. For example, with the QT, it's even more punishing. However, look at the amount of time that Legend was fighting from window or scoreboard up against key door players and just pop, pop. It feels like with the Bandit, he's just getting 2 to 3 extra shots in every battle where a lot of players wouldn't have the time. They wouldn't find those angles, but you can already tell that SSG is just working as a unit and just moving around each other so well. That's what leads to these huge outlier damage stats. For example, 12,000 damage per game coming in from Legend. We saw 600 damage per minute from StelluR on the leaderboards yesterday from buff stats. Just unbelievable stuff.
I think one thing that Legend is already starting to command here as well, and we don't want to get too far ahead of us, but it feels like there's some sort of aura around him when you see him in those 1v1 battles, right? You see people going into it, and if you see a Legend above that player's name, you know you have to be perfect in that fight, or you have to back down and show respect, because you've seen what happens in the 1v1s. If he gets first shot, it's very rare that he isn't going to win that battle. You think about players like Renegade, you know, Royal 2. You think about players like Trippy Lucid Formal is another great example of it. When you see them, you cannot afford to think, maybe I don't have first shot here, but I can challenge it because I know I'm going to hit mine. You can't afford to do it because you're going to get a death away. Right. And it's as simple as that.
Also getting tournament updates from across the venue as well. Shopify taking down Cloud9 3-0 in their series. We'll keep a close eye on what they're up to, as we know they're a big threat, of course, to the top 6 and beyond. But here on the main stage, you're seeing Sica on screen, and a lot to think about for these players here on Quadrant throughout these series. If you look really at their games, I think they're going to have already a lot of tape to look at. Yeah,
it's crazy, right? We're sitting here waxing lyrical about Legend and how well he's playing, and the fact that the series is 2-0 as we bring up a little bit of C9 versus Rebellion for you to enjoy in the meantime. But just to continue the conversation, that first game could easily have been Quadrants.
Yeah.
Easily have been Quadrants. Arguably should have been Quadrant.
I don't even think arguably. Should have been Quadrant, and they threw the game away. It's a 100-point lead. Also to not, I mean, they needed one single push. You could actually argue they only needed 2 dead to close out the game at the 246 mark. They were unable to do so, and I think there's good news, though, on the side of this for Quadrant, because I think if you're a Quadrant fan and you look at all their games versus FaZe and all of their games up against their opponent here on the main stage, I think there's a lot to look at in terms of what they have been able to do right up against SSG and also against FaZe. There's truly just a few set of plays if they go differently. Their bracket and their pool, etc., could be so different. So I think a lot to still look forward to and still games to play in this series as well.
Yeah, I mean, SLG is saying it might take us a little bit of time. We might need a few events, a little bit of experience to hit what he believes is going to be that new higher skill ceiling and performance ceiling. But we are also seeing quite clearly in front of our eyes here where those kind of lapses are. And they're being taken apart in those late games, in those moments that really matter.
And I think we can take a look at these first 2 games. And as we said, Quadrant leading 246 at that point, also having a 100-point lead. And in this game, also keeping things close at the 40 kill mark or so. This series is not over. And I think Quadrant needs to make sure they are focusing up, realizing, okay, we've played very well in these 2 games. We've thrown the first one away. Everything to play for. The reverse sweep is on the cards. If you look at how these teams have played against each other, just think about the triple cap the Quadrant was able to hold against SSG. Yes, it's very game type specific. However, a lot to play in this series, and you have to hope, if you're a Quadrant fan, that they're still believing that they can reverse sweep here.
I will say, I think when you're looking at game types, you're looking across maybe potential weaknesses here for SSG. The static game types are the ones where historically they haven't been as effective. You think of like oddballs, you think of strongholds. It's usually the pace of those games feeds into how they like to play Halo, right? Consistently moving, consistently rotating, consistently putting pressure on different parts of the map as a squad. When it's a little bit more static and there's one objective to work around, for example, King of the Hill is the perfect example, then sometimes someone might go for a little bit of a walk and try and get in a position where they can put pressure on and think they might be able to get a little bit greedy for kills, and you can pick that player apart a little bit. We'll have to see if Quadrant do have that opportunity, or on the flip side, if SSG have tightened that up.
That's the question. We'll have to see. As we saw, SSG, of course, with very, very impressive stat lines from StelluR and Legend, and if those prevail here, it's going to be almost an impossible job for Quadrant to try to really get many points, many hills on the board. However, as we said, series far from over. King of the Hill Recharge going to be your game number 3.
Well, game number 3 is about to be live, Arlington. And it's time to start the comeback if you're a Quadrant player or a Quadrant fan at home. But Spacestation looking dominant. And the man who we're going to start off with on the point of view deserves it. I'm going to say it deserves it. 21 kills and a Slayer, closing it out with a triple kill. You don't start with Legend, something's wrong with you.
He's earned that one. Sica and SLG also need to ice up here. Realize this is the exact same main stage where they made history. In decades of competitive Halo, no European team had accomplished what they did. They took down Optic here on this main stage last season. they make another historic set of plays here in this game number 3 and start the reverse sweep. Here we go.
Glory has the shock, and I'm pretty sure that Bound might have just got away with the camo, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to see if that was burnt or if he is in a position to cause some problems. But early pipe control is going to be in the favor of Quadrant, and that means they're going to be sat in that hill too.
So he's trying to stay alive on the back bat. Not going to be easy. Eco with a nice angle here, and also going to apply some pressure on the pipes. But looks like he does know someone might be behind him as well.
So well to cut this angle though.
Yeah, look at this.
Glory does somehow manage to come out of that situation with a kill with the shock rifle, so somebody got some facial features rearranged, and it's going to be 3 dead here for Spacestation for a moment. It's a much more solid start in this game. A Snipedrone says to Lqgend, nice last game, it's my turn to take over now.
Maybe a sign of things to come. We'll see if they can continue this as the damage comes in again. Very good continued damage coming in from Snipedrone on the bat ledge. Eventually has to back down, but they do get 2, now 3 dead. Lqgend, last player alive. Yet again, very good control coming out from Quadrant.
They have the information on where he is, and Lqgend is last alive. If you know where he is, you probably know where the respawners are going to be as well. So fantastic control in this first hill here from Quadrant. Legend's going to try and fly in, but SLG's going to stay alive in this hill, and nobody else from Spacestation is even close by the looks of things to challenge this, but they do flush that player out of the hill. Therefore, they've bought themselves just a few seconds of time.
Was 2 dead apiece for just a moment. Look at the progress, though, on the hill here, and Quadrant's going to want to very quickly close this one out.
Legend's still alive. Bound inside of the hill was the last player alive, though. SSG trying to get those respawns, and they have managed to find them, and Snipedrone is going to be caught off guard by one of those respawners. SSG finally break.
Now, certainly this one doesn't happen as well. I'm just going to say it. There's no way the Quadrant throws away this hill.
Just said thank you, by the way, for that.
Surely not. Let's see if Spacestation can hold.
Get ready to tweet Andy. Snipedrone and SLG do get 2 though, and that's going to be SLG with a double kill, so hold your phones everybody, it's all good. Quadrant do secure the first hill, and Glory has had a fantastic start to this game as well, away with his second shock rifle set at 6 and 3.
1-0 on the board. Quadrant going to be very happy that one comes in, and as you say, also comes in without added difficulty. A few more spawn cycles might have been, even if they got the point, it's just a little bit kind of taxing in terms of motivation and emotion in the game. That one comes a little bit easier than the other points, and now with 3:58 left on the game clock, Glory connecting into Whirlpool. That means continued slaying control from Quadrant.
And this is a really good opportunity to just kind of show everyone at home, if you haven't seen what Glory can do, just how much talent this man has individually. With a shock rifle in his hands, he is a problem. And look at the progress already here. It's another shot connected for the killing spree. StelluR might be next as well, and Quadrant are on the precipice of going 2 hills up.
3 dead, trade as well. Kill does come in, 4 dead for SSG. Continued points, Quadrant will score. They go up 2-0.
Well, this is how you start the comeback, but with the way that Quadrant have been playing so far in this series, you know that they will know 2-0 is not going to win them a game. They have to close it out. And Spacestation do have control at the moment, and they have some kills on their side as well.
Finally, a few kills do come in here. If Sica can stay alive, that would be huge. However, they're 3 dead. Glory is your last player alive for just a moment. It looks like they know it. They flush him out. That will be officially 4 dead. 2 players already off the spawn.
Look at Lqgend as well. He's already up on the map, and SLG had no idea that he was pushing in. Does not let them reset, gets their first pick for free, comes out of it with full shields, and now they've got numbers, and it's just about finding all of these Quadrant players and picking the rest of the push off.
2v2 on the map for just a second. Lqgend gets forced back out of Whirlpool, but he has all the help he needs.
Enemy about to
They're going to continue scoring here. This should be an easy close based on the spawn timing.
Camo coming up as well. Now, what's the play? Is that going to distract SSG enough to give this hill up?
score. Hill
But it looks like that's not going to be the case. The camo has been picked up somewhere. It's by a Quadrant member, as the first hill will be picked up here by SSG. It's 2-1.
enemy team.
And the camo has been negated. So Bound now, flying out bottom middle, trying to put pressure onto respawners as we move over to the C-Plat hill.
Things really changing quite a bit. Quadrant, as you'd expect with a 2-0 lead, initially had been outslaying quite heavily. However, that advantage in the slaying department has been dropped to just 2 kills now. Quadrant outslaying 30-28, but already points on the board on this 4th hill for SSG.
SSG just taking a second to step out of that hill because they felt like they didn't have the damage they needed to expose one player inside of the objective.
Enemy team
Try to
dropped
group
the
up inside of the tower to make sure that they at least got some numbers a little bit closer, but the push is coming on the long haul here, and you can see that kills are being picked up and traded, and that's why no one is really wanting to step in this hill right now. Quadrant are close. Ooh. SLG with that shot might change his decision to step inside the hill, and yeah, he does.
Finally, the opportunity here, and now with 2 dead, it might be more points on the board for Quadrant. Let's get into a listen in with them.
Watch on the box. And batteries, kill me. Shock my stack. Get in. Watch out, go back to long. Go back to Legend. Box and Shaman might push. Go back.
We are chilling back, so they don't know I'm here.
Yeah, take your time. Going back.
Enemy team took the hill.
One step go on me. I should heal. Heal one shot for you. Dead. Yes, I'm gonna push up there. Bottom there, I do damage for you. He's stack. Go blue pipe. Blue pipe.
I'm still long, Stellar.
Push together.
He's going C.
Yeah, push together.
Spawn batteries, bro.
Don't pick, Mike. Kick the guy on A, that's gonna spin in a sec. Wait for him to...
Oh shit, nice. Mangler.
I'm looking, we can see.
Another one tower. Gonna trade me. Mangler weak. Mangler, I got one shot on him.
On camera.
He went tower.
I have cover. They're paying for me.
Put him in, weak yellow door.
I have cover.
One shot, Mangler.
Blue pipe.
Absolute
Shady.
I'm gonna kill shit.
J'ai cover. One more bottom tower, I want
Backside of the weak.
You can push that.
Okay.
You shot backside low.
In the window. They're playing for me. Two tower, really weak. I can't push this. One shot back C.
All one shot, bro. Each all one shot.
Team took the hill.
Back C. Someone come. Come back to me. Nice. I'm taking you one.
Bottom mid.
I'm out shot.
Spawn long. Block in the
They butt with me, someone. They might play for shot. And someone butt with me.
I'm spawning in a sec. I spawn long, I'm coming to you, Norman.
I'm here.
You can go, Norman, you can go ahead.
Okay.
I'll go tower.
He's front.
He's front weak. One shot front tower.
Dead. I'm shit.
Bottom mid, one shot. It's turbine batteries.
Bottom mid dead. Dead. He's dead. Long. Watch my day. Laisse-moi pas de
Enemy team
He's long. He's long. Watch out long.
Okay, go long.
Watch out, yeah, long.
I'm going long.
One tower. Long and tower.
Well, back into the game, and 3-1 is the score to Quadrant. They secure that third cap, and let me tell you, it was a fascinating listening, a fascinating battle around that hill, Andy.
It really was there, and of course, very much warranted reactions coming out of the crowd here in Arlington with the way SLG played with that grapple, just whipping back and forth between Tower and Plaid, cleaning up his own kills as well. And I think you and I were talking during the listen-in, just really both teams so focused on the numbers that really only when they're able to get the 2-3 dead do they start to put the points on the board. But brilliant patience coming out of Quadrant, really nice slaying control. They were trailing early on in the listen in that hill, but instead with 120 on the game clock, they go up 3-1.
Camo coming up in 10 seconds as well. Legend gonna get picked off by Glory, who is having quite the game at the moment. He says, I see your 21 kills in the last game. I'm on 20 myself in this third game of the series.
Really nice stuff from Glory all game here, and even when he gets taken down, it feels like he bounces back right away, even stronger. Should be another grab there, bottom middle. Keep an eye on that in terms of SLG's POV. 1 minute left on the game clock here.
SLG got that camo, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so.
But Legend hunts him down. And it looked like the game plan by the looks of how people have been moving and staying alive on this map was to try and play time here for Quadrant. But does that give the opportunity for SSG to get kills, to step back in? There's still a lot of time left in this game, Andy, to turn not only one hill over, but two.
Can they do it? That's the question. We've seen them do it before, and I think with any other teams, people might be thinking, 3-1 with 57 seconds left on the game clock. As a reminder, of course, for everyone, with anyone in the hill, that game clock will pause.
How is he alive?
Unbelievable shots from Legend against Glory. What a 1v1 at Tower. Continuing to make statements up against his former team. What's going on?
This is almost kind of verging into legal territory, to be honest with you. It's going to be 3-2. And we mentioned how at the start of that hill that there was around a minute left on the game clock. There's 54 seconds left still. SSG still have plenty of time to turn this around.
This is the danger zone for Quadrant, and we've been here before, not only in terms of game score, but emotionally as well. I think everyone in the room's been here before in this series. 2 dead for Quadrant. Spacestation Gaming showing no signs of slowing. They've kept the game clock still just at 47, and they continue to tick on the scoreboard.
And it's that man Legend again who's stepping up in the late game. He's 22 in 17 in this game. 8 assists to his name as well. As Eco steps inside of that hill. SSG lose him though. To 4v3 on the map at the moment. Legend's looking for damage to capitalize on, but can't find anyone now.
There's the SSG chant in the building there. However, as you say, Quadrant silences it for just a moment as they do get the first pick at a very pivotal time. That eats 20 seconds off of the game clock. You have to think Quadrant maybe just going to try to play time as best they can, but 2 kills come in. This could be a very big third. It's a big 1v1 win from Snipedrone to keep things at 2v2 on the map. That could have been it.
I mean, this is the man brought in to try and fill fill the shoes of Lqgend when it comes to numbers, right? And winning 1v1s like that, that's why he's on the team. But you got to remember that StelluR's inside of the hill, and the SSG are playing the late game once more. It's 3-3, 30 seconds for 2 caps for SSG.
Don't forget, moments ago it was just 3-1, and Spacestation doing it again in this game. Somehow tied 3-3. We said there was a lot of game clock left, but they might even do it here in regulation.
What a comeback. And now Lqgend with the camouflage inside of that hill can taste a series victory against his old team. StelluR taken down as well. It's 2 dead for Quadrant, and we are in the danger zone.
3 dead even for a moment. Snipedrone's going to try to make something happen on the long haul push. All 4 players are up. They need to make the push right now.
10 seconds on the game clock. Next hill will win this. Bound's got the shock rifle as well, and Lqgend, he's hunting for more. Snipedrone won the first 1v1, but not the one that mattered most. SSG stood inside that hill still. The question is, can Quadrant get close? There's a push coming through the tower. SLG found one, but can they flush this player out of the hill?
They should be able to. That's big damage on Sica. Oh, 2 players in hill now. They get some hydro spawns as well. Now officially in overtime here, 1:59 on the clock.
Lqgend played his life so well in that situation. I have to say, a lot of players you would have seen previously would have got carried away with things, tried to jump inside of that hill, tried to clean up a triple to try and flush Quadrant out, but he's still alive and he is still a problem. However, the break has come in. Quadrant are inside of that hill, and SSG have to slow down.
How big is Snipedrone staying alive there? If Snipedrone dies there on the sneaky, that is a man advantage push for Spacestation, and you could be guaranteed that the push comes in and likely goes through. Now tied here on the last hill of the game.
Camo's coming up as well. Decisions to make for both teams. Do we play for the power up? Do we play for the hill? It's a 2v2 on the map at the moment. StelluR gets taken out by Glory with that commando. The shroud is down, the camo is up, but Quadrant has stood inside of the hill. Bound has to fly.
Has to fly. I don't think he has the time. That should be it. And Quadrant in the last second in overtime will take the game. History does not repeat itself in our game number 3. They win 4-3 and they extend the series.
Can you believe the series we are seeing already this early on a Saturday in Arlington? The question coming into the series was, why is the late game like for Quadrant?
Yep.
Can they put together a bit of composure, a bit of calm when it matters? Well, even though Spacestation were let back into that game, from 3-1 to 3-3, the most important moment of the entire match, Quadrant win it.
They win it, and how about Snipedrone staying alive
Massive.
on the sneaky? I'm telling you, in that 1v1, he took at least 2, maybe 3 shots as a one-shot on the sneaky. Lqgend could not finish it, thought that the finish was going to be easier. Snipedrone staying alive and scampering back to the team, preventing the man advantage. That's a guaranteed SSG push, and statistically that probably goes their way. Instead, it's a flat 4v4 on the map for that last push, and Quadrant holds.
Game of margins, we're seeing it again, right? Snipedrone, you have to say, in the pivotal moments of that game, won either individual battles or kept himself on the map long enough to re-engage and keep Quadrant in a position to hold SSG at bay. You take yourself back to the pipes fight that he had, right? Wins that 1v1. That allows time to go off the clock. Yes, they lose the hill, but it burns time off the clock for them. And then in those final moments, I have to say, there were some really good plays around the back of the hill from SLG and Glory combining together. And when we went to the listening as well, something to point out is SLG is kind of saying to Glory a lot of the time, you can play off this damage. You can push into tower now because I have damage down for you. It looks like there's a little bit of a budding in-game relationship happening between these two players, and they're playing off each other exceptionally.
You also just saw in the highlight reel, we had a chance to talk about it momentarily in the game. That's a nice double as well from Glory, just holding down long haul single-handedly.
He always has that plasma pistol, by the way.
Yeah,
like, it's pretty
nuts. He really does, and is he ever putting it to use before the patch comes in, without a doubt, as that won't necessarily be as effective with the recent changes that are announced that are coming to the Pea Shooter. But man, what an absolute, this play from Lqgend as well, somehow staying alive through several battles. And this is when it looked dire. Glory's your last player alive in tower. StelluR even forces him back. They maintain that with 30 seconds left. They get 2 hills back to back. It looked like it was going to be a very similar story to our game number 1. However, Quadrant, they ice up. Take a look at the scoreboard. It will not be the same thing across the board. It's a 4-3 overtime win for them. And on the main stage, that's the first time we've seen them find the ice in the late game. Is that maybe a sign of things to come for them this weekend?
So 2-1, the series will continue. And I look to the next game type, and I've got to say I had a smile on my face. We are going over to the new map mode for this season, Forbidden Capture the Flag. And I have to say, one of my favorite flag game types we've had in Halo Infinite so far. It's so unforgiving. It punishes you if you go 4 dead. It's not about worrying if you're going to lose a cap if you go 4 dead. If you lose your sniper, and they've got one as well, you can get easily rolled in a couple of minutes.
Exactly. Toss the overshield to that mix, and it can get very, very punishing. And I would say in terms of slay rotations, we can expect something potentially similar to game number 1, right? As you said, very, very punishing game types, and we got a treat of a game in that game number 1 with huge comebacks, huge swings of control. We'll have to see if the same thing will be the case here on Forbidden CTF.
I feel like we're being treated to a series. It's almost like it should be this good this early. You know what I mean? But here we are.
Feels like a Sunday series.
It certainly does indeed. SSG and Quadrant entertaining everyone here in the building, as well as everyone sitting at home, I'm sure. And you get the feeling that there's going to be some pretty big plays with that sniper rifle coming in here, Andy. This sniper is so vital to control. If you could throw it off, by the way, the other teams, and you can keep yours as well, it gives you such an element of control with a great line of sight that you actually have on Forbidden to play with. Yeah,
it really, really does. And like you said, when you have 2 sniper rifles in play, plus that overshield coming in, we could see teams easily, not just back-to-back cap, but the game could be over very, very quickly. So I think what both teams are going to have to focus on when they're spawning back base, when they're coming down rat tunnel, making sure that, hey, this flag might be gone, and they're going to need to know when to cut it off, more so than ever before in a CTF. Just knowing that, okay, we got to let this flag go, because in about 120 seconds time, if we don't, the game could be over. And they're going to need to be careful about that, because, and I say that about both sides, because we saw what they were able to do in a triple cap when they know exactly how punishing the spawn system can be, especially with the current spawns in Halo Infinite right now. These teams are going to have to be very careful. Know when to forfeit a flag, know when to just win a 1v1 in the back of your base, get someone off of your flag, and then push out hut, push out main ramp. They're going to have to take this one flag at a time and make sure that they don't let themselves get double or, heaven forbid, triple capped on.
I think one of the fascinating things about having this game type as well is we don't really have any data, right? We don't have any data whatsoever on tournament performance. We don't know how good SSG are. We don't know how good Quadrant are, what their strategies are going to be like. Usually when we're commentating some of these games now, we kind of have a pretty good picture of how a team wants to approach a game time, what their strategy is going to be, what their pacing is going to be. But the fact that this is a new game type not only makes it difficult for us to predict what we're going to see, but also makes it difficult for each team to predict what is going to happen. It's not a case of, oh, we're 2 dead, they're in blue, okay, they're probably going to slow things down. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a case of we're going to have to play this one almost instinctively at times, and not try and stick to what we're going to work on, not what's happening on the other side.
And what I love about that as well in this map and game type combo is you and I have talked a lot about very inventive flag routes, very inventive sight lines. There's a lot of mixes of elevations where you're sniping through pillars on unexpected angles. All of that is going to add to a fantastic game number 4 as we're underway. Space Station currently leading in the series 2-1. Quadrant trying to stay alive and force a game number 5.
The battle for Overshield is going to be the first thing that we really have to keep our eyes on here, and Snipedrone will get that first pick. However, StelluR has got the sniper rifle, and he's already got a double kill. So I think we need to go to some StelluR POV pretty soon. Snipedrone didn't manage to just scoop up that Overshield, and yeah, this could be fun, is all I'm going to say. This could be fun, unless you're a Quadrant fan.
Big shout out there to the team in the back. On the POV change to get to see StelluR hit that shot. However, the control that does come in from Quadrant still allows the pickup on the overshield, and that's really going to be a big thing we're going to be watching about top mid. You do want to send numbers there. Oftentimes, one player is not enough to make that overshield happen. They do get the pull, and now StelluR is under pressure as a result.
No sniper rifle to play with as well. You did see Snipedrone got that first overshield. It's 3 dead here for SSG. And Snipedrone inside of your hut is a problem. He can anchor this position, and Sica has an opportunity already to run this one towards him and think about running it rat tunnel. But look at that overextension, Andy. You were wagging your finger. You saw it straight away.
I was. 3 players overextending. However, Eco's still here. Great play from Snipedrone to be aware that Eco was there. Now they only have to worry about the overextenders here coming in through rat tunnel.
Shots all ready to bound. Look at this route, by the way, from Snipedrone. That's such a smart thing to do. He knew he had no shields. He knew he wasn't in a position to challenge and take down bound if he would have turned around. So waits for that second to get those shields back, uses the pillar as cover before he re-engages, and now it's just a matter of getting these final kills, but SSG making this hard.
What a play here from Glory, though, to just hit the drop slide perfectly and get all the damage he needs. Can he get the cap in? Tries to hit it. No, it's on the stand. 2 players are dead. Sica going to be the one who tries to go. Waiting. Eco with a very big pull here now. Both flags off of their stands.
Oh, that's a big stick coming in from Sica, by the way, because that could have been an easy counter-camp opportunity, and let me tell you, it is going to be a flag sent home. Overshield coming up as well. Flag is still away by the looks of things. We've got a little bit of a standoff.
See what Legend's able to do here. Man, Glory, initially a really nice set of plays to hit the drop slide outer rot tunnel.
Snipedrone got 2! And he might be able to keep this flag alive now.
No.
Flag will be returned.
Wow.
So, I mean,
that was an opening flag standoff that was very befitting of this series, I think. That just backs against the walls, everyone kind of on the edge of their seats here in the arena, and we will stay at 0-0. Glory with a really brilliant play to stay outer rat tunnel, do damage across all the way to his stream, also his main ramp, and then late goes for the touch in the end, just too late. The flag goes down on the stand, and we will stay here at 0-0.
Interesting to see the decision from Spacestation once they lost those initial kills as well to just overextend. There's no point in fighting back through our flag, back through the map, because the angles that we're going to have to fight against are too much. We'll try and overwhelm by hitting a triple overextend. And I have to say, maybe Quadrant are going to look back on that and think, did we try and force that a little bit too quickly? Could we have waited for a few more kills and secured that cap?
It does feel like, especially because of the awareness to take down Eco in the back of the base, right? They're able to split that. They made sure that Eco did not get any kind of split spawn or any kind of split pressure. And it felt like they maybe had the time to try to take down those rat tunnel players, maybe wait and bait with the flag, but they did try to make it happen fast.
Interesting as well. You think about that, Snipedrone got that kill on Eco, right? Who was the player who was furthest up to get that flag pull? The respawning Eco. So that's how long it took Quadrant to secure the kills and damage, and they weren't able to do so. But Glory is now in a position to do a huge amount of damage. Not going to be able to do so, and we might have given a sniper rifle to StelluR.
We'll be down for just a second. It was 2 dead for both sides here. Just 2v2 bound. Trying to connect top middle and also stay alive here on the top of the main ramp.
Should be a dead flag. As you can see, Quadrant are set up top middle for the overshield. Sica with some incredible shots to take down bound. And it's amazing what a game win can do for a team, right? The confidence you could just put into your shots, those individual battles. All of a sudden you start winning them a few more and you feel a little bit more like you're in control.
Finally taken down there, Sica, but not after some very good damage. However, that Snipedrone overshield could be big. See what Legend has to do here. He's going to be forced to overextend as well.
Another overshield going over to Quadrant. That's 2-1, I think. Spacestation weren't really able to make too much
look at the run
of theirs.
Oh, it's unfortunate. The run there had really big potential to hit the pillar onto the main ramp and be very, very quick off the drop. Doesn't hit exactly what he wanted to do, and to be honest, it's a really tough flag to now pull out of that corner.
Yeah, I think giving up on that one. However, Glory gets the touch.
No, it's not. I'm telling you, that is the depths of the sewers.
It's a circus out
here.
Oh
boy, once that flag's down there, it's a high-risk, high-reward run. I mean, I love the pillar to main ramp run if you can hit it, but when you don't, that thing is just sitting in the sludge. And as we just saw from Glory, you really got to have your wellies on to grab that thing out of there.
SSG just going to be caught out here. StelluR's managed to sneak behind enemy lines into the Quadrant hut. And they're 3 dead at the moment, and it might be 4. That's all of them down a killing spree. And the flag running away. This is going to be the first flag cap. You can see all of Quadrant still trapped in the back of the base, and there's no line of sight to stop this flag. Legend showing it's not just the kills he can get, he could do the flag work as well, as SSG will strike first.
Very, very good timing there on the kills there, and a few cheers in the audience from the SSG fans as that flag will go in. And as we know from this game type, one flag often the difference maker here. We'll see if they can continue the pressure, but the first flag goes in cleanly for SSG off of StelluR's really nice control.
Also looking for a second as well. You see, they got that flag pull out. SLG's had to overextend just to send that flag back home and kind of reset the map. And that means that Eco might have some easy pickings here, but no such thing when you're up against a Quadrant player.
Look at StelluR's numbers right now. He's 15-7 in this game. Talk about it. We've been playing here for just shy of 6 minutes of play. Only up by 1 flag, and to be positive 8 at 15-7, quite a statement from him.
Sniper coming up at the same time as the overshield as well. Challenges are going to be accepted here. 2 quick scopes, almost gets one onto Legend as well, as the over is still up. Eco's going to get it with no shields as well.
Just under the tag, beautifully done. We were treated to a momentary sniper battle. 2 longtime teammates and 2 players who certainly know how to use it, but Eco's going to grab the overshield. Finally, it's depleted and will be taken down in the end.
SLG might have a lot of work to do here, though. Has to hit some more shots with that sniper. Look at this. Lqgend has snuck behind all of the Quadrant setup. SLG had work to do, but now he's just giving sniper rifle ammo over to a person you really don't want to do it.
Oh, look at this. Back of the base, Sica with very good awareness there to challenge Lqgend from the other side. Looks like it was going to be a lot of trouble. The nades coming in, finally taken down.
Really important that they dealt with that. They can get that sniper rifle back in their hands, you would imagine. Even though it's just a couple of bullets, it means that it's not going to be used by SSG to pick off those respawns. But Eco up on this plat at the moment, at the top of the main ramp, just kind of stifling a lot of players. Sica tries to overextend and sneak up behind him, but Eco gets the call out, and Eco deals with him. It's 3 dead here for Quadrant. SSG in position to trap them in the base, but nobody really thinking about the run yet.
4 dead there. Really nice patience from Eco. You might have been wondering, why is he sitting top main ramp? He's pre-nading. You could tell based on observer mode that there were no players there. He was looking for Sica. He knew that someone was either coming up main ramp or going rat tunnel. Really good patience there from Eco. Here comes the run.
Run started, and it looks like it's going to be the same run again. Eco looking for the overextend once more, making sure to smartly just keep this high ground. Doesn't need to jump down, just needs to keep angles before he can clean up the damage. The flag is back on the rat tunnel at the moment. SLG is playing on the pillar at the moment. Does he have the GB nades to deal with it? Bound has to give this one up and has to fight. Flagpole now comes in for Quadrant.
Wow.
SLG played that so brilliantly.
Unbelievable. How about SLG just sneaking in under the radar, hides pillar, pre-nades, as you said, with a GB nade onto flag, then gets the pull as well, keeping his team in this.
Full flag standoff then. Overshield is coming up, and it's going to be Eco who gets it once more, and that could be the difference maker here. Eco with the overshield can look to be aggressive on this return.
Gotta wonder, how does he play this? He's gonna wait for opening damage if he can just be an addition to that. He doesn't want to let this overshield get melted. It would not be worth it. Wants to do whatever he can to do the maximum damage with this overshield. He's still got about 50% left.
The process from SSG really impressive here as well. They clean out their side of the map first. And Eco is just standing still, waiting for teammates to move up to him, because he knows even though he has an overshield, it doesn't really matter.
There they go.
If you've got 3 guns on you. Now the push is going to come in. Now they want that return. Sica going to be taken down. That's the first pick for them, but they don't know where SLG is with that flag.
Flag rotates out. I think flag rotates out to Hut. So even though it's a very good timing push coming in from SSG, they rotate away from the overshield, and SSG not able to do too much with that Ovi. Here comes the next battle.
Ooh. 1's kill going to be traded out. 1 dead per side. StelluR still on the hunt itself.
Look at the chess match there. Eco doesn't let a sliver of his overshield get taken down. Here comes the next battle on this flag here. StelluR makes the push in. Very nice shots against Sica.
Takes down 1, and here comes the help. Snipedrone's not going to be able to win this. No, he is! Somehow he stays alive. Glory gets a touch as well. And now maybe Quadrant can think about moving up the map.
Wow, unbelievable. I'll get to finish that thought now that we have all 8 players up, but a chess match there. Eco doesn't want any of his overshield to get taken away. They drop down rat tunnel together. And even then, the overshield gets, flag gets rotated away from the overshield, and a brilliant play by Quadrant. He has to get a touch right now.
Legend's going to be there, but he's met by the sniper rifle of Lqgend. Lqgend with the no-scope. Will take down Snipedrone. The flag should be returned as well. It is indeed, and Eco will put it home, and it's that man, Lqgend, once again with the clutch play.
Sneaks in the back of the base, able to not only get the return, but also win the 1v1 to ensure the return. The flag was just out of reach on the touch, and with 1:58 left, it's now a very different game. A 2-0 lead for SSG. Needs to be unbelievable halo from the side of Quadrant, but with 3 dead, it's not looking good.
This could be the game, everyone. This could be the moment where SLG will fall and maybe
4 dead. That's it.
Give the signal for SSG to close out the series. It's 3 dead, it's 4 dead, they're all dead, and at the moment, Lqgend's padding his stats while Eco is running it home. It's going to be the final flag here, and SSG will close out the series 3-1.
What a series it was. In the end, you're going to see headsets up, hung up on the monitors, and these two teams shake hands, and for very, very good reason. What a series between these two. It'll say 3-1 on the scoreboard, but every single game really close. Spacestation in the end outslaying 65-51 and winning that game number 4 to close out the series with a score of 3-1.
StelluR almost double positive as well, 25 and 13. For StelluR, that sniper rifle is his best friend. And let me tell you, I mean, off the rip, we were like, oh, StelluR's got sniper, and all you just see in the feed is dead, 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 dead. That's what happens.
I gotta say, once again, really, really interesting play back and forth between these two. Wasn't quite as explosive as we saw that game number 1. Really much more control from these two teams, playing it much slower, making sure, because if you make the mistake, you will be punished on that game type. 3-0 is your final score in game number 4. Spacestation closing out the game with flags.
We talk about moments, we talk about what little plays change games and the results of them. You got to remember it was 1-0, if I'm not mistaken, when that flag standoff was taking place. And if it was Quadrant who win the flag standoff, get the return, it's 1-1, but instead it's 2-0. And off the back of that, you felt like maybe that was the wind taken out of their sails, knowing that the time wasn't there for them to come back. And the final cap was, of course, it would be put in by SSG in those final moments. But clutch play again from Lqgend on the flag return, right? Goes in with a sniper rifle. Snipedrone's got a snipe of his own, but one man hits that first shot, and his name is Lqgend.
It was. And StelluR with some very nice cleanup here, as we saw earlier in the game. And I tell you what, really, really tough scenes there, because we've all been, if you've played Forbidden CTF, you know that play well when in a flag standoff. They happen so often in this game type that if you're sitting in the back and you don't have players in the right position, or heaven forbid there's someone in the back of your base, the risk of that flag getting returned if you're only sitting on hut and not sitting on the flag itself is so high. And that's really exactly what happened. Lqgend with the perfect push. And to be honest, even if Lqgend doesn't get that kill, I'm pretty sure the flag standoff return was coming in no matter what.
Yeah, it's very, very impressive stuff. And this is how the series looks at the end of things. 250 to 246. An insane comeback from SSG in that first game. 50 to 41, a little bit more control on the side of SSG, with a monumental Slayer performance from Lqgend, dropping 21 kills in that one. Quadrant, no, they weren't dead. They came back in that game. King of the Hill recharged to clutch up in that final hill, but CTF Forbidden was all SSG, which leads us with the series 3-1 to SSG.
And I think Quadrant and Quadrant fans have a lot to be proud of there in terms of getting that game on the board. I think they really needed to make sure they weren't getting swept even in games where they were very close. So Quadrant, a lot of things to look at. However, also a lot of things to look forward to for this squad.
Well, that's going to do it from us. An amazing series to start off the winners bracket here, but we've got to hear from a member of Spacestation, and we've got Bound on the main stage right now with Blaze.